Let's talk about motherhood in Little Fires Everywhere. So on this account, I've been talking about motherhood a lot. I made a video about mothers who leave their children, stories about mothers who leave their children, and I made a video about bad moms in fiction. In one of those videos, somebody asked me to talk about Little Fires Everywhere, where motherhood is a lever, and it's both a device used for storytelling and characterization purposes. I'm going to be talking about both the book and the show, which aired on Hulu in 2020. I'm just going to use the visuals, but I'll differentiate when I'm talking about the book. In case you don't know, Little Fires Everywhere came out in 2017. I'll put the cover here. It was by Celeste Ng. It was a massive, massive, massive success. Like huge, huge, huge deal. Everybody read it. Everybody was talking about it. It was incredible. It's one of my favorite books of the decade. I loved it. It's nice to actually be talking about something that I love on here because I feel like a lot of you guys think that I'm a hater, but I really, really loved it. I reread it during COVID right before this came out. In the book, Mia was not Black, and I think that was one of the big shifts that they made for the show, where Mia is played by Kerry Washington, Elena is played by Reese Witherspoon, and we know the sort of character that Reese loves to play, right? This like frigid, brittle woman who is very serious and very like overbearing and cares about rules a lot, which is sort of emblematic of the neighborhood where the series takes place. Shaker Heights, Ohio is one of the first planned communities in the United States, and they were like a very serious suburb where the streets were perfect and they have all of these rules. And if you want to read more about it, has a Wikipedia, it's in the book and it's on the show. If you have not read the book or watched the show, scroll because I unfortunately have to spoil a lot of it now. One of the things that's really interesting is the way that we learned about both of these characters through their motherhood, right? Elena is a character who married and had 4 kids very young, and she is now a career woman, but her career is sort of stalled because she has to spend a lot of time with her kids, and she resents the last one a little bit. I was being nice. She resents the last one a lot, right? Izzy is her youngest and is very difficult. Izzy is creative and impulsive and sort of intense. She wants to be an artist after she meets Mia, but she's like a bad kid. And Elena, who has 3 older kids who are good, is very, very annoyed with her and very controlling of her. It's sort of like a Gilmore Girls-esque relationship where she's like, just do the right thing because I'm telling you that this is the right thing, where Izzy is like, well, that's not what I think is the right thing, right? I don't need to live the same life as you. I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. I don't need to like constrict myself into this life because you think it's the only life that exists. And that's something I've talked about on here when I talked about Mona Lisa Smile. Elena thinks of herself as a good mom because she is controlling and rigid, whereas Mia is controlling and rigid in other ways, right? We eventually learn that these characters have spent their whole lives sort of drifting. Pearl has never lived anywhere for more than a couple of years. She falls in love with the Richardsons and their lifestyle. They have this huge house. There's all these kids. They're all very close. And she's like, this is the life that I never got to have. We find out that Mia was supposed to be a surrogate and she ran away. But right there, we see the contrast, right? And the show makes this very explicit where Mia wanted to be a mother so bad that she gave up sort of stability. She gave up the idea of ever living anywhere because she's on the run, right? Like, it's a little dramatic, but it works. She gave up the idea of stability because she wanted to be a mother so bad, whereas Elena is surrounded by stability. She is trapped by stability, and she's, like, straining against it. Like, yes, she wanted to be a mother, but she didn't want to have 4 kids. In the book, race comes into it when we talk about the storyline that I'm about to talk about, but it doesn't come into it when we talk about the Warrens and the Richardsons. But in the show, it is very apparent that, like, there is a distrust of Mia, right? She doesn't really have a resume. She's like lived all these places. She has like references that are cobbled together. It is seen as much more suspicious when a Black woman cannot prove where she's lived, prove the jobs that she's had, has this like indeterminate source of income and stability. In one scene, they're like sleeping in the car and the cop is like, what the fuck are you doing here? Right? This scene is very different when a Black person is sleeping in a car versus a white person, right? It just is. And it creates that element of condescension and mistrust on the Richardsons' part, where she is like a well-meaning liberal, but she obviously has her biases. Motherhood is again foiled with these characters where Linda is Elena's friend who's also grown up in the neighborhood, and she, like, these characters never leave. They're very like Shaker Heights for life. So they've been friends forever. She was unable to have a baby, so she adopted a baby. Bibi is Mia's coworker, and we later learn that this is where the money comes in, right? Because again, this is a story about race and class and privilege and the economy and all of that. Bibi had a sort of PPD breakdown, and because she couldn't afford to take care of the baby, she took it to a fire station, and that's when Linda adopted her. The problem is that she really wants her baby, right? So again, these characters are sort of bound together. These 3 characters are sort of bound together by their like want and need to be mothers. The difference is, again, who gets to be a good mother, right? Linda is seen as being a better option for the baby because she is wealthy and, you know, lives in a big house, grew up in the neighborhood, has all of these connections. Like, she can provide a better life. But like, on the race element, I don't know if this baby will have a better life. But again, all of these storylines come to a head because they're all tethered and foiled by motherhood, right? We have women who desperately want to be mothers, women who desperately want to control their children, women who desperately want to like provide a safe and happy life for the kids that they did have. But who determines what is a good life? Who determines the right thing to do? Who determines which choices are correct, right? One of the best lines of the show is when Mia says to Elena, you didn't make good choices, you had good choices, right? And this is something that these two characters fully understand, right? Your circumstances are so sort of controlled by money and the economy and race, you do not necessarily have the same life paths and options that these women have. Making this video made me really want to reread the show. Maybe I'll reread the book. Maybe I'll rewatch the show actually. But I loved the show. I love the book. If you've never read it, please, somehow, if you made it to the end of this video, go read it, go watch it. It is incredible. Thinking about all of the different paths that motherhood can take and the way that all of these characters are so well conceptualized, I'm like blown away just talking about it.